Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Devongunsmith Diaries, and today we have a lovely 1970s AYA number 4, and what it is in for is the trigger pulls are very tight, so ease the trigger pulls, length of pull, bit of stock work, and it will be back to a beautiful gun once more. So let's get into it.
If you enjoy the content, don't forget, like, subscribe and click the notification bell.
So this is probably my oldest customer, not in his age, the most loyal customer I've got that's been with me from the first day I opened my gunsmithing outfit. So as you can see, it's been fitted before. As he's lost weight, he's in his 70s now. It's now doesn't need all of this. Just check that that's on the camera. Yes, it is. So this was an adaptation, and this was his first gun, would you believe? So there's a lot of sentimentality involved, as there should be. So he said, oh, just take it off back to where it was originally, rechecker. And because some of my oldest customers are actually friends, I tend to do a little bit extra for them. So I said, oh, look, it's looking a bit tired. Do you want me to clean up the checkering while I'm doing all this checkering at the back? Obviously the trigger pulls are adjusted, and clearly these barrels have been had a best London blacking. You can tell because it's still dark there. They've been re-blacked at some point, I'm sure. Let's just get it all done and give it a birthday. You see the checkering has had some just natural wear and tear. Pick out the checkering, usual dent raising, all the usual stuff that I generally do on a sort of conservative aspect. But the old number 4, lovely piece of work, nice you know, the detail is there, you know, you've got the discs for the pins and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're really nice guns, colour case hardened, bit of the bluing's worn off, but we won't worry about that. So first things first, let's just check what the length of pull is. So I'm featuring the Wheeler trigger pull. You can get these online dead easy and they operate perfectly well. Pair of snap caps, bashing the camera as I always do. So safety off and try. It's not even taking it. Huh. Oh, they are tight. Yeah, okay. So just check that again. Safety off. Oh boy. Over 8 pounds. Flipping heck, eh? Yeah. 7.5. Wow. He's obviously got accustomed to a lighter trigger pull. That's what we all do. Right, so that's clear. That's straightforward. That's a bit of a ball ache, to be honest. You have to do the work, put it back together again, check it. It's time consuming. Anyway, it needs doing. And so does this. So where do I start? Somebody trolled me, oh, you're all over the place, you are, mate. oh, what are you playing at? It's like, well, I don't know where my arse is from the elbow at the moment. So where was I? Yes, members only content. Before I get on with the rest, I just wanted to say to you guys, I appreciate your support. And it's interesting that if I had 16 members with membership on my channel, that would be the equivalent of 1,000 views through the ad revenue, would you believe? So big thanks to you guys. Appreciate that. One of you guys sent me a really nice letter explaining how you followed all the content and you got your son into the UK Championships on the clay pigeon. I had a moment there, I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, on the charts he's about 4th down from George Digweed, our UK champion. So congratulations. Obviously my content has some value. That's good. And the top 4 of you, I'm going to be making a little tool time video where I make you my favourite screwdriver. It won't be perfectly the same. It'll be close. It'll be that element, which is the one that you want for side-by-sides mainly. And I'll be posting them off. So I will need you guys to put your name, your contact details. You can contact me via, okay? And if the members only, I'm afraid premium YouTube members, they're not members in my book, because the members that pay to my channel are directly assisting me to produce content. A little bit like Patreon, if you will, but a lot simpler. So my bona fide members, not the YouTube premium viewers, I'm afraid, sorry. You watch my content for free and you get all the privileges. Good on you. Don't mind. But there will be some little gifts going out to my top tier members, and more of that to come. Let's get back into the main video so everybody can see this bit. So if you're a member of the channel, you would have had a bit more info from myself. We are currently in the UK. I'm about to renew my registered firearms dealership license, which has to be renewed every 3 years. It's a tedious process. And as I'm now a one-man band instead of a 3-man operation, and I do YouTube as well, my workload has just increased. So I have to do compulsory admin, inventory, registration of guns, all that guff for the police. So basically I'm working for nothing for the police when I'm doing that work, and that admin can take quite a bit of my time, as does the YouTube channel, incidentally. And of course I don't get paid directly for the YouTube channel. My time is never covered. So if you ever do consider joining my channel as a member, you do directly support the channel and immensely help me when it comes to the support I get from you guys. I think the numbers are something in the region of 16 members is the equivalent of 1,000 views on AdSense. So just to get you an idea of how much I value my membership. Okay. So these sears in here, the bent on the sears here is what I have to file with a diamond file to set these sears to beat the triggers. Tired, my brain's farting, forgive me. I'll get loads of comments saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, you can't even use the right phrases. Well, stuff you, don't bother. Trying to talk and do the job, never a good idea. So on the number 4, the pins have a locking screw, which is fantastic. So they'd never drift or move. And some people go, oh, it's only an AYA. I'll tell you what, these are built following the design specifications of the best London guns. So there's nothing wrong with them. I would be very happy to have an AYA. If anybody wants to give me one, that is. Not happened yet. We'll see. Let's crack on. So this is where we got to find the right turn screw. Oh, I don't think I'm going to find it in a hurry. No. Back to our toolbox, which is over there now. So that brings me on to the matter of turn screws. Just finding the right one. Quite often grind them down to tiny amounts to see if I can't get one to undo. Oh, this has not been undone in a while. So it looks like I'm going to grind a bit to fit. This probably came out of my original Wheeler set. I've got numbers of these different types of screwdriver systems. You really do get through them a bit, I'm afraid. Any of them will do. But I'm going to need to grind this one down to suit. So I'm not going to get that in there. It's a good fit otherwise. I'll be back. Can you see what I did there? No, I can't say that anymore. It's another one of the... No. More to go. Let's have a look at this a bit more. You can see better than I can. It's all about getting it done by whatever best means necessary, I'm afraid. And, okay. Right. I'm going to need to zoom down and get you down here. See if you can see it. You're going to be right under my nose, but anyway. There we go. And that's why it's important to get the right turn screw. In other words, make one in this occasion. I could just hear the trolls going, oh, well, you should have the right set from AYA. Well, I don't know any honest to goodness salt of the earth gunsmiths that do. To be fair, you're constantly making tools to suit, and that's a quick way of doing it. You can get these and just pop them in a box and use them again. Frequently do this sort of thing because I quite often break these, and I don't want my antique ones getting screwed up. Thank you very much, because they're precious to me. Anyway, just go and get a pot. Okie doke. So magnetic pot to the one side. And yes, I do orientate them. Camera, everything in my way. I kind of wonder why I do the YouTube channel sometimes, but then some of you guys say something nice and I go, oh yeah, that's why. So I need my ego massaging, don't I? Certainly not for the money, that's for sure. Right. They're not going to want to play with me today, are you? Let's see if we can move that a tiny bit. That is tight, guys. Super tight. All right. So, a quick and dirty cheat way of releasing the springs. God, it's so tight. that's them released. That takes the tension off these. Got to do that in order to let the strip down the box lock. Oh, by the way, I'm obviously doing a box lock strip down. Not intentionally, but certainly looks that way. This should come loose now because there's no tension on it. Oh, no, doesn't want to play. Find a turn screw that will. No, not going to happen that easily, is it? I'll be back. All right, let's have a look. Oh, boy. These haven't been off in a while. Go to good old electrical screwdrivers. Nope, not going to release in a hurry. Yikes. Well, got no choice. Customer's waiting for it. No, don't want to know. I'm wondering whether that's an application of acetone might benefit this. Who knows? Let's see how we get on with these other locking screws first. Well, they've come undone. There's a bit of crud in there, but they've come undone. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing there. Handing them. Oh, well, there you go. That side is undone. Would you Adam and Eve it? So that's the orientation. Sorry, that's the orientation. Should release these two as well. Ooh, too tight. Don't want to know. Just untension that there. Untension, it's a proper word, trust me. I do know what I'm talking about, honestly. Look how magnetised these are. And some of you will have noticed I just genuinely use whatever turn screws to hand. If they fit the screws, they fit. This is from necessity, not just being an awkward sod. So I'm going to work on the right hand barrel for a minute because it does take a while to get this right. And that's coming out too. See how using my favoured tool, it slots in and it doesn't go in completely, so I just slide it in slightly sideways. And some of you will have a conniption fit with me doing that, but you know, you can always turn over. You don't have to watch. Even a little screwdriver will release. See, it will slip, but it will release. Right. So that's under tension with the spring a wee bit there. It's not like the hammered in pins. You've got to actually undo them. And this is under tension. I know it is. Yeah, I suppose I should show you that. I'm only going to be working on one side of the lock at a time for obvious reasons. It's going to be a pain otherwise. You get everything mixed up. Okay, so that drops out. Now, my old mentor, if you remember, I can never remember who put these in properly. It's funny, isn't it? Done it dozens of times, still get it wrong. That will actually allow me to tension this, get it right around the right way, if I can get it to go in. Not going to happen. Can use it like that if I wish. The spring's there, so I should better tension the spring, shouldn't I? Ugh, not happening, guys, not happening. So I want to be able to push the spring down either that way or that way. And it's proving tricky, to say the least. It's just not enough clearance. Normally you're using this to put it in only and tension it. Had to release it to release the sears, so it's part and parcel of the pressure. The pressure on the spring now is key to releasing this. Now, how have I done it before? Many times. I actually made a compressor once. Just pushed it down, squeezed it down. Am I going to show that on YouTube? Probably not. It does need to be under tension, without a doubt. So, what you can do, popping that in loosely. You can control it. Somebody will say, oh, there's a tool for that. I'm sure there is, but I'm trying to do it on the basis that you don't have all the tools, if you remember rightly. Right, found it. And keyboard warriors, get ready. This rusty old thing has been used so much, it's become tired. And what I would use this for is to compress the spring a little bit. If I can do it on the camera, great. It's annoying that they have these leaves on these. Can't remove them on this particular model. But just tension this up a tiny bit without it getting out of view on the camera. So as you can see, that tensions it down a little bit, takes the pressure off this and makes it possible to withdraw that pin in relative ease. It will still probably go ping. It's not as easy as the good old English box locks that don't have a tensioning situation. So now I've got to try and do this while on the camera. This is the problem is doing it for you guys to see. Right, a bit of tension on the spring to stop it flying out. I'm a little bit testy today because I'm tired. Once again, it's still gripping it, but it's loose. I can feel it. All right, tiny bit more then. Verificated screwdriver would be quite good at this point. Yeah, it's still holding it. You've got to get the tension on this so that it doesn't drift and move around, but without damaging the screw, or the pin as traditionally it would be called. So put a light bit of tension on the striker there. And there it comes. It's loose. There you go. Way! It's very fine thread, so you don't want to screw it up. Pun intended. Alright, so back to the job in hand. Remove my rusty clamp. The spring will then try to fly out. There you go, in a controlled way. And you haven't used anything fancy. It's just a slightly modified G-cramp. And everybody's going, oh, look at that, it's scratching the action. Oh, goodness. Well, I could polish anything I've done out, can't I? Get a bit cheesed off with it, to be honest. There's the spring. There's the bent, very sharp and tight. Needs adjusting. And cocking dog. Release. There we go. Oh, that's off camera. So these are to one side, and that's just one side of the lock. Just to satisfy you people who ask the questions. Why are you doing it that way? And there's a bit of rust in there, but it is 1970s iteration. Bit of clean up to do there. Use the good old Napier gun oil. It's got corrosion inhibitors in it. These need polishing and cleaning. Bit of cloth on this. Oversimplified. Let that soak in for a bit. Let's give these a spray as well. They'll need a little bit of emery polishing, I'm no doubt. Right, while that soaks, I'm going to have a cup of tea, because I'm an English gunsmith. Cheers. Well, just had a lovely cup of tea, and that's helped me out greatly. Okay, so I'm actually doing a service on this action, but the complaint and the reason it's in for is because the weight of pull. So I'm going to very briefly show you how would we set this up. Right, so it's going to be upside down. Right. Zooming. Got my camera in the way, the field of view. Right. So here you have the sear and the hammer. And obviously there's the sear and the bent. So it depends on what your side-by-side is. In this case, this is a hammer. Sometimes it might be a dog's tooth striker. So it's the same thing, but with the firing pin, inverted commas, can't do it because I'm too close. Firing pin would be attached and it'd be a dog's tooth striker. So that's how they indicate together. And when the trigger pushes up on here, it goes click and that fires forward, swings forward on its pivot, and bang, the gun goes off. So I'm going to try and zoom in further. Okay, so the angle of the pounds of trigger pull are related to that angle face there. I'm so close to the camera, it's unbelievable. There, good shot. Okay, so this angle here sets the trigger pull. if you angle it more that way, hard to demonstrate. So if you set the sear to the similar angle as the screwdriver, you reduce the pull. So to reduce the pull, go that way. To increase the pull weight, go that way. Very hard to do because I'm trying to stay focused here. So if the gun required out of focus once again, zoom. If the gun only required this adjustment being made, you don't need to strip it down. I wanted to see how bad things were inside. So that's the little segment that you need to take away for trigger pull adjustment. However, I need to do a bit more than just trigger pull adjustments. Been 1000 grit. I used loads of this, so I'm always wasting it. So you find me cutting bits off constantly. So first things first, I just clean all these faces off. Very slightly polishing them, as everything is minging. And these little bits of corrosion will inhibit the flow and movement. So as always, customer dictates the amount of work doing. This customer happens to be one of my well-respected and most loyal customers. So I go a little extra for those kind of customers. I'm only working on the faces that are actually in contact with the action. And I'm not taking much off, I'm just getting rid of the corrosion. Specifically, we're not looking to grind anything down, just taking away any marks or burrs or anything like that. So let's get back to this. How am I going to do this? I think I'll introduce my block and we'll go back down. So I don't think I'm going to be able to show you in real time filing this down. It's a tricky process. So you may choose to use emery paper if you have to. Well, this is difficult to focus on. And one drawer has just brought that cleaned off a bit. If you only had to lose a difference of £0.5 pound, just polishing this in this situation would do it. And again, you've got it's feel, you've got to know what you're feeling. But if you look at the way I scratch this, see how flat that mark is. When I zoom in now on this, can you see that that's a flat and then there's this like secondary bit? That's like the deburr mark. Focus. Hard to show you this. Right, there it is. You can see it as a line. So there's two actual faces, but the set, oh, it's so difficult to focus on, is this one here, which I'll try to point at once again. There. So I need to knock it back, make it less pointy. Okay, so that's going to go in the vise because I can't do that cleanly here. I will try to set it up to give you all that lovely visuals. Oh, that's what I'm looking at. See that? Nice. So I just need to cut that and make that less sharp. Anyway, let's see if I can do it on the vise. Right, let's see how well we can get this done in terms of setting it up. I'll tell you what I'll do. Right, a quick and dirty trick. Use a Sharpie. Treat it as engineer's blue, and then it will show you where you're filing. So there, I'm doing this freehand, so there will be some inevitable wobble. I'm just biasing this way onto the sear. Now, of course, you need to deburr that edge too. Otherwise you'll get a catch. Now, I've got a finer one here, which as you can see, is a lot thinner and finer. Sharpie again. And we'll see what that does. You'll see what I'm going to do with this in a second. Camera change. Okay, so now you see that I've got this hand ground, may not be very good set. And you can see as I'm doing it, the angle. This is all by eye, I'm afraid. Oh, crumbs. Right. Little bit of polishing, wobbly. Right, I think you can see that. Focal point. Yeah, it's slightly rounded there now because I'm doing it freehand. But we will see exactly how good that is. Very slight deburr there. Focus. It's not perfect. There's a little bit of a wobble there. And this is the reality of it. It's not easy to do. The only way you can do this effectively is to do it correctly. Using a CNC machine. There's a bit of bias there. Right, okay. I would normally use a jeweler's loop in this position. That's better. Okay. You see I've got a slight effect. It's very hard to do this correctly. Almost like a chisel mark on the facet there. Right, that'll do. Focus. Right. So at this point, I'm going to need to zoom out, guys. There we go. At this point, I need to now clean the action thoroughly. It's not bad, but it's still not great. And hopefully, this right barrel will be able to show a marked improvement. Right. My old favourite, the cotton bud. Yeah, it's mucky, but it's not it's not rusty. That's the main thing. That's the main consideration there. Okie dokie. Right, so we need a little bit of gun oil. Where's my gun oil gone? Right. So just so that we're clear on how this assembly goes, it's basically like that. That squishes down, that creates the pivot effect. The spring is trying to always push it down like that. And the sear is stopping it until you pull the trigger. And that is basically your lock in its simplest form. Obviously your cocking dog engages there and presses down to cock it like so. Oops. Like that. In which case that then engages. It's very basic. Look, 4 parts. That's the essence of your gun right there. Sorry, it's gone off tangent a bit. And I just spotted I need to give this a quick clean, which I will do. This is just to reduce frictions. That's all it is. It's nothing more. And that's your return spring nicely set up in the coil there. Lovely. Right. There you go. One nice fitting spring adapter. I'm waffling, can you tell? Okay, so I usually do this in the vise. I'm going to see how I do, but we'll probably end up doing it in the vise. Spring goes in first, and something like this. Trying to demonstrate the use of this tool, which would be like that. I get my angles of the dangles right. I'm not sure that it works with the AYA, actually. Works on all the other old English, but we'll see. Not going to want to work, is it? And there you go. See how easy that is? I'll get it to the camera for you. It's bringing it up to alignment. Ping! And it all comes out. So it's a vice job, obviously. So let's just get on with that. Put it in the vice and do the job properly. Now I've showed you. Let's see if we can do this in one take, shall we? I highly doubt it. I would normally put mineral oil in, but because I'm filming it, I'm not gonna. There you go. What are you gonna do? Can't make me. Right, so it's necessary to get this about right before we start. So I can use something like a driver just to make sure we get it to hold long enough to get that in. and it's just not quite there yet. It was probably right the first time. Yeah, it was. There you go. Oh, and my vice is trying to move now. You only have one hand free at any given time, you see. Now I'm working left-handedly. This is where my apprentice would normally come in and go, whiz that screw in for me. Bless him. Climbing trees now for a living. Good old Joe. Left-handed, I know that the light's messing up. There you go. Well, it's in anyway. Okay, so spring in, hammer in. Now in the old school way, we would use a wood wedge and we would just press it in. I think the table's going to give way first. Like so. See? You got it. It's a lot more effort than the good old lever, which is what we favour, but clearly this is the generic size and that's just a finer size. What would typically happen is I'd make one, but its dimensioning is just a tiny bit different, as you can probably see. I wonder if I can get it in partially. Now it's got to be there like that, you see. It's got to be there and then it won't release. But that is so much easier to do. Whoops. So much easier to do. But the dog leg compression tool isn't going to work. I'm wondering if I can just... Nope, even that is not good enough. So I use the old true and tried method. Oh, the spring's moved out. Okay. So I could cock the spring, set the sear. And now in this very basic format, I can now pop the action together, not completely, but temporarily. So I can test that sear. Okay, so we're not going to put the cocking dog in or anything like that. I'm just going to... camera needs to follow me. I've only got the one camera. And I don't have a cameraman. See you over there. Right, so that's Pro 10 fitted. All it is in order to set and decide upon the trigger pull. So in the same way, I'm not going to put the bottom plate on. I'm just going to set... Oh, you always need a third hand here at this point. They're called apprentices usually. Anyway, right. Okay, so safety on. And you just drop that in there. Very easily. Supposedly easy. I always do it on my knees because this is... I'm not prostate on my knees. I hasten to add. I mean, I sit down and offer it up so I can rest the job on my knees. And it's almost like that now. There you go. And just a little bit of a... There we go, in. Right, at that point, I can just pop the screws in, do a quick test. This is the shortcut method because if I'm doing as many iterations of this as necessary. Ooh, wrong screw. Where's that flaming screw gone? Oh, there it is. Oh, wrong one. If I'm doing as many of these as I think I'm going to be, it's not a shortcut job. Because it is by feel methodology. It's not really an exact science when it comes to popping things in. Okay. Obviously that side's not been taken out, so I can cock that one. Okay, not enough space. I need to sort the camera out. And this lends itself to showing you how these gun supports that I make serve a purpose. I can lay that gun in free air. It's solid and non-movable and ready to go. And to be honest with you, haven't got a clue where we're at on this. So let's just see. I'm not going to be able to show you the whole thing. That happens when you've got the safety on. So reset the gauge, slightly off camera shot, but and still pretty damn hard, proving that you've got to really watch what you're doing. It's still hard, but it's not 10 that it was. It's now about 8. To go in the right direction, he wants it 5 and 5. So, having shown you the basics, I'm going to just quickly whip out the sears, set them, do it a few times, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. Right, so I don't imagine you really understand the irritation that setting up shots can cause. It's actually slowing the job down. Of course, the customer doesn't pay for that. It's supposed to be paid for through YouTube, but in the manner that YouTube is set up, it doesn't. Not by a long way. So at some point, I'm going to have to decide whether to continue the channel. 16 members will be the equivalent pay threshold as 1,000 views by other people. 16, would you believe, per month. Anyway, it is what it is. Right, so that's released. It's not cocked, obviously, for obvious reasons. So I can now pop this out quickly. And do it again. A bit more vigorously, a bit more aggressively. So that was too soft, too insufficient. We've got to go more. And you will see there's a little mark, little witness marks left behind. So I'm going to crack on with that. All right, so I'm going to show you a dirty trick now, which involves, first, I need to show you the test. So, quick test. Just cocked it, safety off. Now, it was the right-hand trigger that was going off the scale. And now it's 5.5 to 6 pounds, depending on the angle that you pull it on. It's a bit like that. And same with this one. 6 pounds. So that I've adjusted both of them, but I didn't bother. I just got fed up of YouTube doing all that. And yeah, just went back to basic gunsmithing. Right, so that has now been fired and released. And pop this off the sear spring, and then very quickly release that in situ, like so. Quickly give it a file. Lost me file. Well, I'm not enjoying today. I'm just getting fed up because I'm tired. Just come back from a weekend break and I just not switched on at all. Right, so with my file, giving it some of this, bashing the camera. Pop it back in, like so. This is the quick and dirty method, and you use the skeleton stock system. Right, so if I'm going to test it repeatedly, I won't put that back on. Rather, I don't know if I'm going to catch this on the camera. I will. Trying to show you. I'm putting my finger on the sear at the back. As I push it down, it clicks. All right, and then I've got my fingers over those snap caps. So set before eject is what you want to see. Okay, so that's that, and then gently but firmly hold that there. Oh, I'll use my body. Right, so firmly holding it there, but not excessively stressing the frame. Right, so that's back on again now. So I would then test this again, repetitively. Again, need more space to get the camera involved. Safety off. Right, so there's no sear spring. So you get about £0.5 pound on the sear spring when it's correctly set. 5. There you go. Okay, so now to show you that again, the sear spring is attached. So what I'm saying is sear springs have an effect on your trigger pull, because obviously they're pressing down, and the pressure, the amount of pressure that they're setting. I'll give you an example. I screw these down as tight as I can, so they're exerting full pressure. Okay, you will get a different result. Okay, so we'll get ready again. Set the trigger gauge. You can get Lyman ones, cost you a fortune, but we're looking at a feel really. 5.5, lovely. That's what I was briefed to get it to, and it's now 6 on the left trigger, which does need more work, to be fair. So that's fair, but I'm going to show you a down and dirty trick. Okay, left barrel, it's upside down. If somebody is sneaky and they reduce the pressure, as long as the screws aren't proud there, when you reset it, back trigger only, back trigger being left. £5.5. So by loosening that off half a turn, you've got it tuned in. Now, I prefer them to be accurate, but that is a way around a problem, and I do know that sometimes people do that for a quick fix. That's okay if the bottom plate is keeping that screw in place. If they've undone it too much, the bottom plate won't go on properly. Just saying. Right, so that is now functional. So on to the other job. Okay, so put this to one side for a second and let's just address the adjustment. Right, so we will try the length of pull with it all back together again, because you remember I didn't check that prior because I was too busy messing about with the gun. And let's just see where we're at, if that's even a correct English usage of a word. Right, so safety off. Bearing in mind they were off the scale before, I don't know if it will be captured, but we'll see. £6, nice. Let's just hope this is balanced. A wee bit higher, 6.5. That's fine. So the back one won't double with the front one if there's any issues there. And let me just test by finger. There's not much in it. £0.5 pound is discernible. But let's just see now. I've run it a couple of times. Oop, it's going off. It's going off again. Right. Try it again. £6. The angle of the pull can vary. Yeah, 6.5. Okay guys, that's the end of this video. There will be some post-production polishing and oiling, tightening of screws. This is routine stuff. You've got to remember I've got a number of different hats I have to wear at any one time. I'm always aware of the timeliness of the videos. I'm always aware of how much work I need to do versus how much I can make on the job. Fortunately, my business is so shrunk down, literally, to my cottage sitting room, which is now my gun room, that I'm able to price things better now. Well, keep the prices tight. I only have to pay my wages now, plus all the costs of running the legal side, the legal required side of insurance and certification and alarm and all that stuff. That actually comes to almost what I earn. I kid you not. But yeah, but with the beauty of YouTube, that is starting to supplement those expenses a little bit. Nothing like as much as it should do. Currently, I have 6 members, which I very much appreciate. Thanks, guys. There will be some special stuff coming your way. It's November. It's the beginning of the shooting season. And it's when I get overrun. So what I will be doing will be banking videos that I will be releasing later on. But there will be director's cuts, especially for members only. And people keep asking me, what's in this pot or what's in that pot? That proprietary information will be reserved to direct questions from my members. So thanks for that, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, thanks.